Hello, welcome back to my channel, Hillary's Whiskey Lounge. Welcome back to the lounge. Before we start drinking whiskey, we need to know into what glasses to pour our whiskey. Now, you might be thinking, oh, I know the kind of glass that I'm going to be using for my whiskey. It's this little thing called a rocks glass, sometimes called an old-fashioned glass. There are several versions of this rocks glass. This one came with a bottle of whiskey that I bought a long time ago. Very cute little thing. Here's one from Glenlivet, which is curvy for a slight reason, and I will tell you about that later. But I would still consider this to be more of a rocks glass, so Glenlivet tried. Here's one that came in a gift set for Kilchoman whiskey. I'll show you the Kilchoman logo. Ooh, I don't know if you can see it. There it is, the Kilchoman. This is a bottle of Kilchoman, in case you're wondering what that horrendous word is, although it's great whiskey. It's a little on the smoky side, so we'll get to that much later. Here's another rocks glass. This is a nice leaded crystal glass. This was my parents'. And this is my favorite one. My favorite rocks glass is this B-17 glass that my son got me a while ago at an Air Force base. And then along the lines of the rocks glass is something super tall like this that you'll want to make like different kinds of cocktails in. But let's take all of these rocks glasses off the table because we're not going to be using those on this channel. I'm sure there are other channels out there that'll show you how to make cocktails and mixed drinks and how to put ice into whiskey. We're not doing that, and I'll explain why later when we get into our tasting. Ooh, I forgot to show you this nice Air Force rocks glass. So I do have a lot of these, but I had to pull them out of my cabinet because I never use them, because I use, and you're going to use, this wonderful little thing called a nosing glass. The term nosing glass is more of a generic term for any glass that is sort of tulip shaped with sort of a larger bottom and a smaller top. This is a nosing glass that I got from an Aaron whiskey gift set. I don't know if you can see the Aaron name on there. There's this cute little measurement line on there too. But the most popular and common nosing glass that you'll see, especially if you're around people who know their whiskey, is this little guy. And this is called a GlenCairn. That's spelled G-L-E-N-C-A-I-R-N. You might be able to see the name at the very bottom inside there, etched in there to the bottom. So this is called a GlenCairn glass, and people generically refer to this as GlenCairn, even though it is the product name. You can pick up these GlenCairn glasses on Amazon for about $6 each or something. I would recommend when you're first starting out with whiskey, just get a couple, maybe get 4. Sometimes they come in little 2-packs, little 4-packs. And the reason is that when you start drinking whiskey, it's a good idea to, well, first of all, share it, which is nice, but also to be able to have little tastings of your own. And so you can decide the different flavors and aromas that you're going to be experiencing in your whiskey. So go onto Amazon, or maybe if you have more of an upscale liquor store near you, you could actually go in there and get these in person. But if this larger GlenCairn glass scares you, then you can get its little bitty brother called the wee GlenCairn. This also has the term wee GlenCairn etched into the bottom there. I have a lot of these just because when I do my tastings, I don't like to serve myself too much. So the wee GlenCairns are great. I forget how much they are, but I got, I think, an 8-pack or a 12-pack on Amazon for not very much. So, and another good thing too is, even though they are quite durable, they have a nice durable bottom, The glass itself is rather thick. Once in a while there are mishaps, and you might break one or two. So especially when you're toasting and saying Slunjava, you might do that a little too hard and break them. So, oh, and the nice thing too about these GlenCairn glasses is that there's a little foot. It's sort of like a little stem or a little foot, which is important also when you're drinking whiskey. You don't want your hand temperature to change the temperature of the whiskey. Similar to when you drink wine, you want to hold a wine glass by the stem and not by the glass itself. You don't want to change the temperature by using your hand. So this is the GlenCairn. Let me show you. Let me find a bottle that's open. Here is a shot glass, by the way. And most of you guys know shot glasses. This generic shot glass holds about 1.5 fluid ounces. So let me show you what a shot looks like inside the GlenCairn. This is some Glen Scotia Victoriana, which I will be tasting with you guys at some point. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really see, but all right, so here's an average shot, and this is what it looks like inside the GlenCairn. So you can see it's nice and roomy. Okay. Let me show you very quickly what the tasting is going to look like, what the nosing and tasting is going to look like. So to nose a glass, we're not going to slosh the whiskey around in there. We are going to be adding water, a little bit of water eventually, but this is just a nice way to let your whiskey aerate a little bit or oxidize. That's the shape of the bottom of this glass is to increase that surface area as well, so as much oxygen can get to the surface of your whiskey, and that helps kind of bring down the sharpness, helps mellow it out a little bit. Never ever shake a whiskey glass. I've seen a lot of people put their hand on their glass and start shaking it around, and no, please don't do that. Whiskey's fragile, don't hurt it. So when we do a nosing, what we're doing is, and what this glass is doing, is the width and then the narrowness is actually steering, hi kitty, it's steering the aroma of the whiskey up in a concentrated way towards your nose. So, so you get a nice direct aroma scent of it, as opposed to a rocks glass. And rocks means that this is going to be a glass where you put some sort of liquor and ice. As you can see with rocks glasses, the aroma just kind of escapes out the whole exterior of the glass, so you can't get a nice direct line of the aroma of the whiskey. So that's the cool thing about these nosing glasses or GlenCairn glasses, is most of your nose will cover this, most of your face and nose will cover it, and you're going to be able to take a really good strong whiff of your whiskey. Now the scent of the whiskey is going to change. The aroma of the whiskey is going to change depending on how long you've had it sitting out. There are some people who like to have theirs sitting out for at least a half an hour to breathe a little bit, which is just purely for taste. If you want to see what the difference is, then pour yourself a little bit of this, let it sit out for half an hour, and come back and pour yourself another different glass, and then taste each one and see what the difference is. We're also going to be doing that when we pour a little drop of water into our Scotch. We're going to get to see how long, sort of the progression of time, if that makes a big difference with the taste of our whiskey. Let me show you just this one shot in this glass, how much that looks like in the wee GlenCairn. Looks pretty full, doesn't it? Sometimes I like to fool myself into that I'm drinking more by giving myself a little wee GlenCairn. It's sort of kind of Lilliputian, but it makes me feel like I'm drinking more sometimes. But the nose changes because the opening is much more narrow. Ooh, let me show you the fancy one. I got this fancy crystal cut GlenCairn. This is still a GlenCairn. I did buy this in Edinburgh a few years ago. I love this glass. This makes me feel super fancy when I'm drinking my Scotch. So that's really it. I just wanted to show you what the oh, sorry, there's one more. This is called a copita. I guess that means little cup. Copita. It does have the same principle to it as maybe some wine glasses you've seen with the little stem, but also the same principle as the nosing, where the aroma is brought up into a essentially concentrated area. I just think that these are fine if you're just starting out to use a tiny wine glass or a little copita glass. But right now, before we actually start our tasting, get in gear, go online, go to Amazon or wherever if you can find these, and get yourself a couple GlenCairn glasses. And so I'm going to give you guys a couple days to do that, and then we're going to come back and we're going to actually start tasting. So, nose. Well, Slangeva. Don't be intimidated by glassware.